Hey guys, it's Eric with Grill Slingers again, and I'm doing something a little different today. I'm coming at you with 3 classic cocktails that you can pair up with your date night meals. They're straightforward and they work across multiple flavors and proteins. We're gonna do a Bourbon Manhattan, a French 75, and my personal favorite, the Caipirinha. Recipes and quantities will be listed below, and there's a few ingredients you may need to go look for, but they're not terribly hard to find. So let's get to it. Please pardon my bartending skills. I'm obviously not a professional. I just happen to taste a lot of these things kind of all the time. We're gonna start with the easiest of the 3, the Bourbon Manhattan. The Manhattan cocktail dates all the way back to the 1860s and is one of the most recognizable cocktails today. Now, there's a ton of variations out there, but we're gonna keep it pretty classic here. Only gonna be deviating with the bitters and garnish. So in a glass, we're gonna put some ice and we're gonna add pretty much, I don't need this. So fill a glass full of ice first, and we're gonna add the following thing. So we're gonna do 2 ounces of bourbon. We got Buffalo Trace, that's what we're gonna use today. Now we're gonna do 1 ounce of a sweet vermouth, and this is a red vermouth. Go. Okay. Now we're gonna add 1 dash of Angostura bitters. We're gonna use 1 dash of orange bitters. We're gonna do 1 dash of Peychaud's bitters. Now we're gonna take a bar spoon and we're gonna go ahead and stir this up until it's nice and chilled. Now normally with a Manhattan, you would put this into like a martini glass or a cocktail glass, but I'm not bougie enough to have one of those. We're gonna go ahead and strain that into here. We are going to add one maraschino cherry, and obviously the classic here is Luxardo. And then we are also going to do a little twist of lemon. I'm using a channel knife here. If you don't have one, you can use just a regular knife and just try to be real gentle with it. Okay, so there you have it. That's a classic Bourbon Manhattan. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. It smells a lot like bourbon. So, a very, very classic Manhattan is made with rye whiskey, so you get a little bit of a bite. With the bourbon, you get this really nice, smooth, kind of like caramel vibe. The vermouth gives it a lot of that rich, almost like a wininess flavor. That's kind of where you get it from. But that Luxardo cherry and the bitters in particular just make it incredibly smooth. Oh, that's fantastic. So that's a Bourbon Manhattan. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our next cocktail. All right, so let's get on to our next cocktail, the French 75. This one dates back to the 1920s, earning its name from the New York bar in Paris, where the bartender said it had such a kick, it felt like being shelled by a 75mm French field gun. Let's see if he's right.
Holy shit.
Kind of awesome that just happened, right? So we're gonna fill a cocktail shaker with ice. And we are going to add 2 ounces of gin. Okay. We're gonna do 3/4 ounces of simple syrup. And 3/4 ounces of fresh lemon juice. Rah. Okay. Now we're gonna shake that. Okay. So now we're gonna strain that into a champagne flute. And we're gonna top that out with about 2 to 3 ounces of champagne. Now we are using Cava. Cava is I would say like a sister to champagne. It's from Spain. Very similar flavor profile. It's also like 5 times cheaper. And just enough to top. Take your bar spoon once it calms down. And just kind of mix that up a little bit. And you've got your French 75. Let's give it a taste. Now, what I will say is if someone thought that had the kick of a gun, those guns might not have much of a kick because it's really smooth. The Cava in the place of champagne, it's got a little bit more of a drier sweetness to it than a typical champagne does, but that fresh lemon along with the gin and the botanicals from that, I mean, it's really well balanced. I would say that that's a contender for a brunch. That's definitely better than any mimosa I've ever had. I would probably prefer that over a mimosa. So that's French 75. Yeah, it was good stuff. Last but definitely not least, my personal favorite out of the bunch, the Caipirinha. This one comes from Brazil and has a similar vibe to both a mojito and a margarita. It uses a liquor called Cachaca, which is a spirit that's made from sugarcane juice. So it's got some similarities to rum, but much more floral. Let's get this one going. You can use an old-fashioned glass. I'm gonna use a mason jar just because I like doing that. We're gonna go ahead and take a lime. We're gonna get that cut up into quarters. Okay. We're gonna add that straight into the bottom of our glass. Did you like that catch? That was a good catch, huh? We are going to take 4 teaspoons of Demerara sugar. You can do this with brown sugar. That's probably, I would say, the more traditional way. I like it with the Demerara. It brings out a little bit more flavor. We're gonna mash these down. We want to express all of the oil and juice out of these limes. And the best tip I can give you here is while you're muddling these, you'll feel the grittiness of the sugar while you're mashing it. Once that grittiness starts to go away, that's when you know that you've got it properly mashed. So we're gonna fill our glass to the top with ice. Woo. Okay. We got that filled to the top with ice, and we are going to add 2 ounces of our cachaça. I like the Canaboa. My Brazilian coworker has told me it is a solid choice as well. Shout out to Abede. I hope you watch this one. Okay, that's good. You're gonna take your bar spoon and stir this guy up. The reason this actually became my favorite cocktail, my lovely wife, when we had first started dating, introduced me to one of my favorite things now is Brazilian barbecue. And anytime there's a special occasion, we tend to go to one of those restaurants, and I gotta have a Caipirinha when I go. Love you, babe. I know you're seeing it right there. Okay. Well, I already know I like this one, but I'm still gonna go in and give it a taste and let you know what I think. Cheers. Oh my God. That still is, in my mind, one of like the perfect cocktails that's out there because it's so simple. The Cachaca has like this floral, almost like a banana flavor to it. It's very unique. I don't think I've ever really tasted that in another kind of spirit before. But when you express the limes, you really get like the oils out of the skins, and you get the juice in there, and then the demerara sugar. There's so many layers in something that only has 3 ingredients. It's perfect. Like me. There you have it. 3 easy classic cocktails that you can whip up for your date night, or really, whenever. Remember, please drink responsibly, and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.